You know the feeling. You meet someone, the vibe is incredible, the connection feels electric, and then, all of a sudden, nothing. It just goes cold. So today, we're going to get into exactly why that promising spark can just vanish.
Right? It's probably one of the most baffling parts of dating. You're open, you're reciprocating their energy, you're showing that you're interested, and then poof, they pull back. So what is going on? Why does a great connection sometimes fizzle out the very moment it starts to feel real?
Well, a major clue might just be hiding in this really provocative thought from writer Andrea Long-Chu. The idea is that desire, at its core, actually thrives on the challenge. It feeds on the very obstacles that keep you from getting what you want. This little quote, it's going to be our key to unlocking this whole thing.
Okay, so let's get into the psychology of it all. What's actually going on in our heads during that early chase phase? It turns out that for some people, the excitement isn't about actually reaching the finish line. It's all about the race itself.
This is a really sharp take from the writer Isolde. She points out that for some people, it's not about you, it's about the performance of chasing you. The wanting, the pursuing, the strategizing, that's the thrill. So the second you turn around and say, okay, I'm here, I'm available, the game is over. And just like that, so is their interest.
And this slide really breaks down that core conflict, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the chase, which is all about fantasy. It's fueled by the distance between you, the mystery, that exciting what if. But a real relationship, that needs the exact opposite. It needs you to show up, be vulnerable, be real. And for some, the moment that fantasy gap closes, the attraction just evaporates.
The philosopher Simone Weil really hit the nail on the head here. Think about it. An idea, a person, a goal, it can seem so beautiful and perfect from afar. But as you get closer, as the unknown becomes known, that beauty can start to fade. Not because anything is wrong with you, but simply because that mysterious distance is gone.
And all of this leads us to what we can call the attraction paradox. It's this weird, frustrating thing where you do everything you're supposed to do. You're honest, you're available, you show clear interest, and that very act of removing the obstacle is what makes them lose interest. You won the game for them, and so the game is over.
All right, so that's the big picture psychology. But let's get practical. What about those smaller, everyday behaviors that can snuff out a flame, even when someone is genuinely into you? Let's dig into the things that can slowly kill a connection. Now, what's so helpful here is that it simplifies things. It's not a million different reasons. When you really boil it down, most of the behaviors that cause someone to check out fall into one of two buckets: things that make them lose respect for you, or things that just kill the desire.
Let's talk respect first. According to marriage coach Stephen Hedger, nobody wants to feel like a fixer-upper project. When someone feels like their partner is constantly trying to change them, parent them, or critique them, it just chips away at their sense of being valued. It's not about gender, it's about autonomy. That feeling of not being good enough is a surefire way to make someone pull away.
And that leads us straight to the second big killer, desire. This one is huge. It's what happens when the relationship slides from romance and intimacy into pure logistics. You're just talking about bills, chores, and schedules. It starts to feel less like a partnership and more like a small business you're co-managing.
And look, as psychologist Silvana Michi points out, falling into these roommate phases is totally normal, especially over the long term. The real danger isn't the phase itself. The danger is when that logistical, roommate vibe becomes the only vibe. That's when one partner is very likely to start feeling disconnected.
So, to wrap this idea up, it's not just about becoming roommates. Desire can also fade when the balance is off. Maybe one person is pushing for commitment way too fast, or they constantly need reassurance and validation. That can shift the whole dynamic into one of neediness, and honestly, that can be a major turnoff.
So, if playing the chase is often a dead end, and everyday habits can kill the vibe, then what's the answer? How do you actually build something that's meant to last? Let's talk about the real foundations of a secure, genuine attraction.
Look, playing games might get you some initial attention. We all know that. But research shows time and time again that a relationship built on that is like a house of cards. It's fragile, it's not built to last. A truly loving, secure connection needs a much, much stronger foundation.
So what does that foundation actually look like? Well, the research points to these three absolute pillars. First up, authenticity. That means showing up as your real self, not some performance. Second, self-confidence. Having a solid sense of self that doesn't rely on someone else's approval. And third, emotional regulation, which is just the ability to handle your own feelings in a healthy way.
And this isn't just fluffy, feel-good advice. This stuff has a real impact. For example, one study found that authenticity is literally perceived as more attractive. Real confidence builds a partnership between equals, not one person constantly needing to be propped up. And when you can manage your emotions, you create a sense of safety. And that feeling of security, that is the absolute bedrock of lasting intimacy.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. The goal isn't to become a master at manipulating desire by playing games or creating distance. The goal is to build a connection where both people feel genuinely safe, seen, and respected for who they actually are. That's the stuff that lasts.
And that really brings us to the final question, one for you to think about. If we just toss out all the so-called rules of dating, all the games, the chase, what does a truly secure, trusting connection actually look and feel like to you? Because the answer to that, well, that might be the most important thing of all.